Hey, this is a shout out to Fran Carbone, one of the people on YouTube that watches. I put this out this morning and he noticed that I had some business documents that were visible. What's funny is I saw a second of it as I was bouncing it out. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just bounced it out and uploaded. So anyway, I pulled it down immediately. So parts of this video are blacked out. The background is blacked out, but anyway, thank you, Fran. All right, so a number of people actually asked about doing how you do licensing, how you do cues, how you get into it, how you make them, what they are. So I'm going to just kind of go quickly. I got like 5 minutes, and I'm by no means an expert in this. I did it for a number of years in LA at POP Sound, Pacific Ocean Post, and then I've worked with Style Tracks and a few of the companies and had licensing libraries picked up, and now I'm kind of in this other world with it right now, which I'll get into real quick. But usually there's two ways. Like, one, you can be commissioned for something very specific. Pacific Ocean Post was the biggest, like at the time, the biggest post-production studio in the world. I think they had like 20 studios, and they did a lot of film and television. And my really good friend at the time, he was like really worked on what they call short form, which was mostly commercials. So they would have a commercial and they would want music, and some of it was just whatever. It was different types of things. I did, stuff for Sam's, the hair place, Fantastic Sam's. I also did I did a bunch for Kellogg, and also this was the Kellogg commercial, which was kind of weird. We did the commercial, and then it was a weird scene.
Right now, you're thinking you need to skip breakfast to lose weight. Good thing you know, research shows women who eat breakfast, like the Special K breakfast, actually weigh less. The Special K breakfast, now in new cinnamon pecan.
Yeah, and this was a thing where we designed this sound, and then they ended up, I think they just paid us for the work, but then they ended up making a whole campaign with this sound. But they had somebody in-house doing it, so they didn't want to pay us. But that was one, and this one was a real fun experience. And these are straight from the production companies. Yeah, so that was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. But those were those were just a few of the ones that we did. And I'm not putting this through the system, so you're just kind of hearing it with the blue mic, but you get the gist of it. So those are like kind of one thing. Those are like kind of one-offs. But then there's the licensing libraries, which now if you come here, this was a library that I did and it got picked up. This is Universal Production Music. So this is like Universal Music. This whole library is my stuff. And the songs got picked up by a few different entities, one being this is what's known as the cue sheet. This is within ASCAP inside the NFL, and this was the one that became like, it was like a part of, I think, the title scene on this NFL show, and it was called Sweet Strategy, which I had it probably named like number 5 or number 4 or whatever, and then they gave it these names. And the game plan was they wanted like a, you know, kind of a beer drinking, yeah, kind of crowd, you know, like Nickelback, Breaking Benjamin, you know, even some Southern rock. There was like kind of a Skinnerty thing on some of the tracks. So this is the song, and now this thing's on Inside the NFL. And I got to check. I'm going to play a second, then I'm going to explain this, and this is the end of the video. So, yeah. So, very me. That's all me. I played everything, I wrote everything, and I programmed the drums. That's it. Now I'm getting paid. So, the way these licensing... Now, this is the ones that I've done now for Licensing Lab, Universal, Style Tracks, and a number of them. And this is not to say that this is the only way they do it, but these are... The garden variety licensing tracks are you do 8 to 10 songs, but the songs are like 2.5 minutes long, instrumental. They don't want lyrics. You can have, like, he wanted, like, hey, like, there's a bunch of that throughout some of these different tracks, you know, but they don't want singing usually. That's for this kind of stuff. And what you do is you do like kind of 4-bar groupings. And make it different each like 4 or 8 bars or whatever, because they're going to listen to this 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes, and they're going to be like, oh, I like that section, or I want that there, and they're going to chop this up and do what they want with it. So, like you can see, it started... How do I get this to start? Yeah, close enough, right? And so it started like... Sorry. So that's first 4 bars. Now, now we got this, which is another section. So they may only use like the 2-bar lead in from that beginning into this because they want this, or they don't want it. They want something different. Okay. So that's like the intro, but now with the guitar. So it's moving forward, right? I'll move to the next section. Similar to the... Yeah, so you get the gist of it. So that's the thing with these, and usually they have like a theme. Traditionally, hard rock is really does well in licensing. I don't know about now, but like girly nerd pop rock was real popular for a lot of years there. You know, like that Natalie Imbruglia kind of, I don't know, just like quirky. Almost think of like, what's the movie with the dude from Scrubs? I can't think of the movie where he goes back to New Jersey. I think his dad died or something. But what was the name of that movie? But you know, it's like it's got like a quirkiness, almost like Sideways and all that. So you find there's some niches. So you got to find people that this is what they do, and you have to infiltrate somehow. Somehow you have to get in. That's really the trick. That's half of it. Half of it's making it. The other half is like having finding an avenue. So I would also say the more self-contained you are, the better. Just because anything film and television, sometimes things change on a dime, and they'll call you at like 3 in the afternoon and be like, hey, we need the drums different or louder, or we want to take that guitar out, and it's like got to be approved by 6. And when I was at POP, it would be like airing that night sometimes. I'm not even kidding you. So it was like me and my buddy were like working at like to get it just the way they like it. So I was like, okay, it's great. And he printed it and boom. And like that night it was on TV. I'm not even kidding you. So yeah. So that's what, so you've got like, these are like licensing libraries. You've also got, or people will call them cues. There's also bumper music, which is like those little, you hear a lot of bumper music on like sports news and reality TV. It's like, you know, the scene ends and it's like dun 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 dun, you know, and then like these just little bumpers. That usually is something where you get more involved in the scene, because that you're more integrated. It's just like with these things, with these TV commercials, we were getting the video, and then we were importing the video in Pro Tools, and we were writing and recording to the video. So it wasn't, you know, we weren't just like doing our thing, so to speak. So I don't know if that helps. Yeah, so licensing libraries, usually 2.5 minutes per song, 8 to 10 songs with a theme, because people will then buy these whole libraries and chop them up and use them how they want. So like I did one that was like synth pop, and it was like very kind of had like at times almost like Billy Idol, like kind of Devo. I was doing like kind of, some of it almost had like a, I don't know. It was like, I was also like listening to a lot of like Kelly Clarkson and Katy Perry at the time, and so it had like a lot of that like kind of up tempo like driving pop rock with synths. So that was the concept of it, was to, you know, make this like a synth pop rock library. So you wouldn't, in the middle of a synth pop rock library, you know, put this. Yeah, they would just, it would, you know, so usually they are definitely like targeted. So, there it is. I hope this comes through on the video, because it's just the sound. I try to keep the sound low so it didn't clip. But, so yeah, you know, take a shot at it, you know, and you can even make fake library, or just make your own libraries. Like listen to, you know, put on, the NFL, put on whatever the one that I was on. What was that? An NFL Today? Inside the NFL. And listen to the music. Go, okay, let me try. Because you really got to be able to like target right. You know, I talk about this all the time with people that do it. Like, target songwriting. Like, it's one thing to be like, you know, expressing yourself. And there's another thing to like have like a target, like a zone. Like, hey, this person's into, you know, Louis Capaldi and Maneskin and all these bands. Like, I'm not going to go in and send her something that sounds like Stained, because it's going to, regardless, you know. So it's like getting good at this target writing and target production, man, it's like nothing better for your skill set, because it is not easy. And anybody that tells you it's easy is probably not doing it. That's all I can say. They're probably listening to it on TV and judging it, which I get, but, you know, yeah. Anyway, so there you go. Licensing cues, licensing libraries, bumper music. Well, take a shot at it. But it's best to be as self-contained as possible. You know, I've done these things where you're in the middle of it dealing with a drummer, and then they want it a little bit different, and then you call and the drummer's like, oh, I'm working till 10. You know, it's if you're self-contained, I would say for a lot of this, you know, like if you're a guitar player, if you could get some, you know, get your programming going, maybe set up a little electronic kit. You can even just quantize it, you know, just be as self-contained as possible. That's it. Peace.